Good morning. Welcome to Law Power Hour. It was quite a surprise when I woke up to see the snow out, but it's Michigan. Let's all be thankful that we're able to see the snow and move around. And in that regard, I got here a little bit late. To my surprise, Mr. Lefkowitz was here. Brandon Lefkowitz, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. I appreciate you having me on today.
Oh, call me Barry. You call me Mr. Keller already, make me feel old.
Barry, well, it's a pleasure being here, and I look forward to having a nice dialogue with you this morning.
Well, why don't you tell the folks about your practice? I read a little bit about you, and I didn't realize that the Lefkowitz Group is you and your dad, correct?
This is correct, yes. I've had the great opportunity to work with my father. He's been practicing bankruptcy law for 35 plus years. And about 7 years ago, I joined him, and we've been working together ever since, and it's been a successful partnership.
Well, you're very fortunate. You know, a lot of people want to know how I can practice law with my wife. She's practiced with me for 25 years.
I can't imagine practicing with a significant other. Definitely with my dad, it takes some patience, and we get on each other's nerves every now and then. But overall, we have a great rapport, and it works out.
Where's your office located? I want everyone to know where you're at because, unfortunately, bankruptcy has been around for a long, long time, and it's not going away, and we need to know about it.
Yeah, it's obviously unfortunate for people to have to file for bankruptcy, but it provides a kind of reprieve or an outlet for them to clean up some of their financial issues, and it provides them a fresh start sometimes. Our office is located in Southfield at 24100 Southfield Road, Suite 203. It's on Southfield Road between 10 Mile and Mount Vernon.
There you go. That helps. Now everybody knows where to find you.
Absolutely. We're always there, even on Saturdays, in case you need to have an appointment during the weekend.
So the bankruptcy laws have been modified in the last, say, 20 years, correct?
That is correct. The most significant change was in 2005 when they amended the bankruptcy code. At the onset of that, everyone thought that it was going to drastically change things, and it did. It mainly changed the determination of income and whether or not you qualify for a particular chapter of bankruptcy.
In terms that our listeners, and I know most of our listeners won't be calling in until the second half an hour, that's the way it usually goes. Explain what that means.
Well, basically, if you make too much money, you don't qualify for what's called a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, all of your dischargeable debts get wiped clean, and you get that fresh start. If you make too much money, you're still potentially eligible for bankruptcy, but you have to file what's called a Chapter 13, which is a reorganization plan, where you have to make monthly payments back to your creditors.
Now, when a potential client comes in to see you, do you sit down and do an analysis with that client so you can tell them in the beginning whether they should be filing for Chapter 7 or Chapter 13?
Yes, that's absolutely one of the first things that we have to do because the minute you file a case, you could potentially put a client in jeopardy of losing potential assets and things. So the first absolute thing we do is we'd like to analyze their income along with what types of assets and liabilities they have, and it provides us a bigger picture in terms of what path they need to take.
Okay, let's say I've got a job and I'm earning $50,000 a year and I have an equity in my home of $50,000 and I have a first and second mortgage on that home. And my house is only worth $40,000 to some people, but it's worth $50,000 in the market. I know it's kind of a tough question. So if it's got a real value of $50,000 and I know I said I had an equity in it, I should have rephrased it. That's the value of the home. Can I get rid of my second mortgage?
Well, that's a great question, Barry. So the first and foremost is we first have to analyze the income, and based upon the income that you've provided, and there's some other factors, whether or not you have children or other dependents. but at the onset, it would appear that you'd qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which, you can get rid of everything. However, there's limitations to that because, A, if you have a house that has too much value, you would potentially risk having the trustee sell it. And with respect to the first and second mortgages, if the first mortgage is a greater amount than the actual value of the home, there's the potential to actually completely wipe out, or what we call a lien strip on the second mortgage, to become free and clear of that second mortgage and kind of give yourself an opportunity to be able to keep that house long term and be in a better financial position on the house.
Well, let me ask you this, Brendan. Let's say that I come to you and I say, look, I've got all these credit card debts and I've got a mortgage on the house that I owe money on, and I want to clean up my debt structure here, but I don't want to go into bankruptcy. Will you work with me if I pay you to help me reduce my debt structure?
Yes, we do debt settlement or debt consolidation, but the complicated aspect of that is if you have so many different creditors involved, it's very difficult to kind of coordinate and reach out to all the various creditors and reach settlements or installment payment plans. And quite honestly, a lot of the times, the best situation is just to file bankruptcy.
When you file bankruptcy, you're not going to get a statement like you'd get if you go into a consolidation or a debt structure program. Now, maybe I'll be a little more specific. I owe Bank of America $20,000, and I enter into a settlement with Bank of America for $10,000, and then at the end of the year, I get a statement from Bank of America saying that I discharged so much of the debt and I'm responsible for reporting this in my income tax. You've seen that, haven't you?
Yes, I actually have a lot of clients. It's my understanding, and you should seek consultation from a tax consultant, but generally, if you forgive more than $600 worth of debt, it's considered income. And the following year, when you actually have to file your taxes, you're responsible for that forgiven debt. Whereas in bankruptcy, when that debt has been discharged and forgiven, it's not taxable income, and you don't have to pay any taxes on that.
So the best advice is between Plan A and Plan B, debt forgiveness or bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is the preferred choice, isn't it?
Yes, in my opinion, it is, in that there's a lot of other benefits involved other than just getting rid of your debt versus when you consolidate your debt. And a lot of these debt consolidation companies, they make it all bright and cheery, but sometimes there's other costs to actually forgiving that debt. Where in bankruptcy, it's pretty straightforward. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into at the onset. And it's also a function, and it's federal law. So there's a governing body that's overseeing this, where in a debt settlement capacity or arena, you don't necessarily know all the facts, in my opinion.
Tell our listeners how to get a hold of you and your dad.
Yes, you can give us a call. We're generally there about 8:30 in the morning any day till about 6 at night. Our phone number is 248-559-0180. And you can always also go to our website, which is www.lefkowitzlawgroup.com, and that's L-E-F as in Frank, KOWITZLAWGROUP.com.
Now, if I go to bankruptcy court and I can't afford the filing fees, can I get them waived?
Yes, there is a threshold inquiry, and it's a multi-part test to determine whether or not you can. First and foremost, it's generally 150% of the established poverty line. And so first and foremost, you have to determine if you qualify from an income basis. And then the second basis is a totality of circumstances.
Hold on for a second. 150% of the poverty line. What's the poverty line?
Well, that's just established by, I believe, the U.S. government. They publish it each year, and it's just an actual number that's published by the government.
Give us a guesstimate as to what it is right now. I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire.
Off the top of my head, for a single individual, I would imagine it's around $1,700 to about $1,900 per month.
Okay, so if it's $1,700, $1,900 per month, we're talking $18,000 to $20,000 a year.
Approximately, correct.
Okay. Okay. Someone in the audience just said $22,000 a year. So it's 1.5 times that, correct?
It's 1.5 times the poverty line. That is correct.
So if you're below $33,000 a year, technically you could get a forgiveness or a waiver, as I tell people, on paying the fees to file for bankruptcy.
That is correct. Once again, the specific numbers we can provide to you, no problem. But yes, there is potential to waive the filing fee, and the judge actually makes a determination, but yes, that is possible. In addition to that, there's also a possibility of paying that filing fee in installments if you're not able to pay it all up front.
What do you charge for a bankruptcy in your office, Chapter 7?
We generally charge approximately $1,100 to $1,200 total, which already includes the filing fee, along with all other internal costs and attorney's fees. It's fully inclusive of everything.
You know, I don't do bankruptcy because when I look at a bankruptcy form, I feel very uncomfortable that I might miss something. I know that you specialize in it, so I'm going to ask you some questions about that. Years ago, there used to be exemptions in bankruptcy. Like if you owned a farm and you had cows and chickens, they were exempt. What kind of exemptions do we have today?
Yes, so every year the government kind of reviews and determines the exemption levels for various assets. For example, on a home, if it's your primary residence, you potentially can protect up to about $24,000. On a vehicle, you can protect approximately about $3,700. If you have any types of IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, any types of retirement accounts, those can be protected up to 100% of what you have in there. Additionally, there's what's called a wild card exemption for money in bank accounts, cash on hand. You can use this wild card exemption for any type of asset that you'd like to protect.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Okay. What kind of question do we have this morning?
I had filed a bankruptcy back in 2005, and a lien was placed on my house by one of the creditors. The creditor was a saving loan bank or something, and they were bought out by PNC Bank. The bankruptcy was discharged and everything back in 2009, but the lien on my property is still showing. I tried to contact PNC Bank, and they're telling me that I still owe that money. It was like a home equity, I think. I was going to ask the question whether, with all the proceedings, they were notified when they were under the other name for the bank, but they never did anything as far as contacting the federal court. When they got notified, am I still obligated for that debt?
Well, that's a great question. If it was considered a home equity line of credit or some type of mortgage, the lien would remain in after your discharge. However, the debt obligation that you owe, which is generally based upon the note, is discharged. So you have no obligation to ever pay that money back, but that lien would remain on the property. And if you ever wanted to transfer the property or sell it, you would be obligated in order to have that removed and receive clear title to pay that money back at closing.
When I went to law school, there was a little rhyme the professor used to say all the time. Daddy had a little lien, the lien was good as gold. Everywhere that Daddy went, the lien was sure to go. So
It's a great rhyme there because it's pretty much true. Yeah.
yeah, the debt follows the lien wherever you go.
Yeah. Well, the debt would be wiped clean. They
Yeah,
could
but-
never sue you
The
for
lien
anything.
follows the debt, rather. That's
Yeah.
what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And the lien doesn't go away, so eventually they're going to lay back there and wait and get their money. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm speaking about the same thing, bankruptcy under Chapter 7. If property is in litigation under this Chapter 7, can the property be foreclosed on?
Well, that's also a great question. By litigation, have they actually initiated the sale and actually had the foreclosure sale yet?
No, it hasn't.
So as long as the foreclosure sale has not taken place yet, are you trying to save your home? Or are you
That's
just trying to
exactly
get,
what I'm trying to do.
you're trying to save your home?
Yes, I am.
So as long as it has not been foreclosed upon yet, we can file what's called a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, where we can put any arrearage that you do owe, and we can create a restructured or reorganized plan where we can save your home, protect your home, and you wouldn't lose it, and you'd be obligated to make your payments directly to the trustee, and then your trustee would actually pay to your creditors, including your mortgage company. But if the foreclosure sale has already taken place, then we cannot save your home in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy.
Okay, one more question. Would you please repeat your number, and could you help me file this Chapter 13?
Absolutely, we'd be happy to help. My phone number is 248-559-0180, and we'd absolutely be happy to help you out.
Okay, I want you to explain the legal mechanics of what happens when you file the 13. I'm going to take you off the air, and he's going to explain it. Thanks
Okay,
for calling
guys.
in.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Now, I want you to explain this because it's really important that people understand the mechanism, what happens when you file the 13.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar to a Chapter 7, we have to fill out all of our schedules, list all of our creditors, list all of our assets, disclose everything. The biggest difference is there's something called a Chapter 13 plan. And within that plan, we have to structure out how we pay our creditors. Because in a Chapter 13, we actually have to make plan payments, and our creditors do receive distributions. So in the event you have a mortgage, we have to explain how we're going to be paying that mortgage. If you're current with your mortgage company at the time of filing, you can continue to pay that mortgage company directly. However, if you've fallen behind and you want to save your home, you now are going to make your payments to the bankruptcy trustee, and the bankruptcy trustee is going to pay that mortgage company. Similar circumstances with respect to a vehicle. If you're current with your vehicle at the time of filing, you can continue to pay your lender directly. However, there's also some additional mechanisms to save vehicles in bankruptcy. If you're a little bit behind and you want to save your vehicle, you can do so. Additionally, if you're paying an extremely high interest rate, there's the ability to actually lower your interest rate. And additionally, there's something called a cram down, and it's based upon a 910-day rule, in that if you financed your vehicle more than 910 days prior to the filing of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, we can actually reduce the amount that you have to pay back to your lender to the current market value and not how much you actually owe outstanding on that loan. And it's a great mechanism because it really helps people out from that perspective also.
Okay, from a legal point of view, it's important to get in to see a bankruptcy lawyer as soon as possible because that does what? It stops everything?
Well, that's a great point. Well, first and foremost, sometimes people wait until the very last second, and garnishments could already be coming out of their paychecks or their bank accounts. And it's a great idea to first seek out an attorney as soon as you're starting to have some serious financial issues, because we can help you out. We can plan for things. We can advise you, direct you, and it definitely is best to kind of reach out at the onset.
So if I have an outstanding obligation to the state of Michigan or the federal government for back taxes, which is not unusual when you have all these other problems, can I throw that into the mix with my bankruptcy?
Yes, absolutely. And believe it or not, depending upon various times as to when you filed your taxes and if you've been reassessed or not, sometimes if they're old enough taxes obligations, you can actually get them wiped clean in a straightforward Chapter 7 bankruptcy. In other circumstances, if they're newer tax debts, we can restructure them within the Chapter 13 plan. And one of the major benefits of that is when we put it into the bankruptcy, you're going to be paying 0% interest on back taxes. Whereas if you create a plan with the IRS or the state of Michigan, they're going to charge you interest throughout that time.
And if you do it through bankruptcy court, isn't it true that you're not under the same structure as if you enter into a repayment agreement with the federal government?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. If it's in a Chapter 13, it's generally going to be a 3 to 5 year period of time that we have to pay back those taxes. And there's also other benefits if you have outstanding credit card debt, medical bill debt, personal loans that we can also get rid of while actually paying back the government.
See, the one reason I wanted Brandon to come on the air, and it's real important for people to understand, is that most people feel the same way about going into bankruptcy as they do seeing a psychologist. They feel there's a stigma attached to it. There's a label on them because they've done it. And you go there to make your life better, not make your life worse. You go see a doctor because you want to feel better, you want to get rid of your problems. You go see a bankruptcy lawyer because you don't want to go back to the doctor, you want the bankruptcy lawyer to help relieve some of the stresses in your life. So you've got to get rid of the stresses in your life by cleaning up your debt. And that's why I invited you on the show today to talk about this. We've talked about some very specific issues in bankruptcy. We're going to take a break for a minute. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Barry.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1. And watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law. Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
I want to thank the listeners for calling in this morning because these are important questions. And we're back with Brandon Lefkowitz. Brandon, tell people how to get a hold of you because we had a few inquiries so far.
Yes, absolutely. You can call our office Monday through Friday, generally around 8:30 to about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and we're open every Saturday morning, which just want to point out because we want to make ourselves available. And you can give us a call at 248-559-0180. And that's once again 248-559-0180.
Now, I've got some interesting questions to ask you. I've got college loans. I paid my whole way through school with loans. Can I discharge those in bankruptcy?
Well, it depends. If they're just normal bank loans with the bank that has no student loan or educational loan designation, then yes. However, if they're specifically student loans or educational loans, unfortunately, those are considered non-dischargeable debts. And when you do receive your discharge order, those loans will remain forward.
Now, here's the one that doesn't stump me, but always stumps people and they call me about. I'm married. My husband has his own credit cards. He dies. And the credit card company calls me and says, are you going to pay off the debt? What's the answer?
No. It would be really unfair if you were responsible for your spouse running up huge credit card bills. That's not your responsibility. That you're not responsible for their debts when it comes to for them opening up credit cards and things like that nature.
Well, how about if I have the use of the credit card and I can sign?
Well, it depends. If you're just considered an authorized user, generally you wouldn't be responsible for that. But if you basically co-signed when you opened that debt, then it would be also your responsibility to pay that debt.
Back to being married again. You have a mortgage on the house, but the mortgage is in my name and I die. Can you stay in the house?
Well, a lot of it kind of depends if how the mortgage company wants to operate. A lot of the times people will just continually pay that mortgage, and the mortgage companies really are okay with that. I mean, in the end, they're about getting paid. If you'd like, you can also try to talk to them to get the mortgage into your name, but you'd have to go through a credit check and go through that process.
Now, same thing with leasing a car. My husband leases me a car and he dies, and they come to take the car back. Unless I can get that in my name, I lose the car, don't I?
Well, once again, what I've seen, and it's really somewhat of a case-by-case scenario, and it's kind of up to the leasing company. If you continue to make the payments, they're okay with that because in the end, they want to get paid. But once again, if you wanted to transfer it into your name, you'd have to talk to the leasing company and see if they'd be able to transfer it into your name.
Now, here's the one, and don't hit me when I ask you this question because it's really a very important question, but a lot of people seem to forget it. I have a house, and I want to give the house to my son and my daughter, and my son is not responsible. So I decide to pass title to the house and put them on the deed with me. It's got my name on there, my son's name on there, my daughter's name on there. My son doesn't pay his debts. Can they come after the house?
Well, once again, they can't come after the house in the sense of taking it away. However, if you file a bankruptcy and there are other parties to title on the house and there is too much equity, they in theory could try and force the sale of the house. Now, all of your the individuals who are not in bankruptcy, their portions are protected, and they would have to receive a payout if that house was sold. but there is potential to losing that house.
Now, if I have a Ladybird trust and title doesn't pass until I die, that would protect everybody, wouldn't it?
I imagine so. If you're looking from a bankruptcy perspective, it would depend upon who was filing for bankruptcy and the conditions that had to take effect in order for it to pass to someone's name.
Well, my children's name was on the property in trust for the future.
Well, you would still have to, in theory, list that because it is a contingent asset upon a particular event taking place. It's definitely a complex question to look at, but any type of contingent potential asset that you know of, you would have to at least list it. You'd have to list any interests in any trusts or estates.
Now, I'm going to ask you something that no one ever asks you. How should I manage my funds to avoid filing for bankruptcy? In other words, is there a formula?
There's not, because unfortunately unexpected events take place in people's lives that we can't protect against, we can't plan against. You know, one of the biggest reasons for filing for bankruptcy is medical bill debt. And, you know, you can be doing everything to a T perfectly financially, and somehow you lose health insurance and you have an unexpected illness or surgery or something, and you receive a really large bill, and you could have planned out everything perfectly and you still couldn't have prevented that. So there's not necessarily a right way to plan everything. Unexpected things do happen. And the one thing you had touched upon a little bit earlier is, you know, when you enter my office at least, the first thing I like to tell people is, I'm not judging you, I'm here to help you. My goal is to put you in a better position than when you entered my office. And believe it or not, there's millions of other Americans out there that have filed for bankruptcy, and you're not alone, and you don't have to feel alone, and that's why we're here to help you out.
The President of the United States has filed for bankruptcy at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, that is correct. He's used, and he's been very upfront about it. He's used the bankruptcy code to take advantage of his financial situation, restructure his businesses, and he's came out on top, as you can see. Yeah.
Right, well, that's my point. So there is a positive reason for using this.
Absolutely. You know, quite frankly, a lot of people are either scared or timid about it, and there's definitely major benefits in doing so, and we're always here to help you out. And just one thing about our particular law office, we never ever charge for an initial consultation. It's completely free. We always want to get you in, talk face to face, and we don't ever charge for that.
Good morning.
Yes, I have a question. I stepped out. I've been watching. But are medical bills able to be bankruptcy?
Yes, absolutely. If you have pretty much any type of medical bill that's a debt that you owe, you can put those into the bankruptcy, and those could be wiped clean and discharged.
Yes, because I'm a retiree. But, you know, for every service that is being done on me, from toenails to blood, I got to pay a percentage. And nobody can reach that high copay of $2,800 that can allow you to be able to get it for half off or whatever, you know.
Yeah, the thing I like to tell my clients is medical bills are absolutely dischargeable. It's a big issue, and it can also put you in a better position moving forward. You know,
I owe almost as much on medical bills as anything else.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can be taken care of.
Okay, tell them how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can give me a call at 248-559-0180. And you can also, you know, if you're like using the computer or the internet, you can reach us at www.lefkowitzlawgroup.com. That's L-E-F as in Frank, K-O-W-I-T-Z, lawgroup.com. or you can reach me by email, and my email is Brandon, Brandon, at lefkowitzlawgroup.com.
And for those listeners out there who do not understand the process, the bill that you receive if you have no insurance is always higher than the bill that the insurance company is paying for the same service. So you ought to stomp it out, because you're not being treated the same as the rest of the people who have insurance, whether they have basic Medicaid insurance, whether they have Social Security insurance through Medicare, or they have private insurance coverage. But if you go in uninsured, I just had a man come in, he had a $62,000 bill, see me in one of the clinics, because he was uninsured. He doesn't know how to pay it. There's grant money to help pay that. If he can't pay it, he's getting $794 a month on SSI. He can't pay those bills. He's going around trying to pull his hair out, trying to figure out how he's going to pay the bill. So the best thing you can do is get a hold of a bankruptcy lawyer and get rid of the bill. And for those of you who are out there, as Brandon pointed out earlier, if you've got a lien on your house because of a past debt, and they say that savings and loan went out of business, they sell that paper to another bank or someone else to collect it. Sometimes they sell it for 10 cents on the dollar. So that means if you got a $10,000 debt, they may have sold all that paper for pittance, maybe $500, $1,000, and they're still trying to collect the $10,000 from you, and they don't tell you that the paper was sold. So you should see a bankruptcy lawyer or see a lawyer to investigate to find out what the real amount of the outstanding obligation is, because the bank has already written the debt off, the hospital's already written the debt off, the insurance company's already written the debt off. The only person who isn't entitled to write the debt off is the person who owes the debt, and they're trying to collect 100 cents in the dollar. So you need some help. One more time, tell them to get a hold of you, and we're going to take a break.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, it's Lefkowitz Law Group. You can get a hold of us at 248-559-0180. And we're there Monday through Friday, generally from 8:30 to 5:30. And we're also there every Saturday morning from about 8:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And once again, that's 248-559-0180.
And Brandon said if you can beat him in a round of golf, he'll give you an extra free consultation.
Anytime, anytime.
Thanks for coming, Brandon.
Thank you, Barry. I really appreciate it.
We're going to take a break for a minute.
Trouble? Are you in need of legal advice or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1 and watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law, Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
Once again, Tabernacle Baptist Church is having the second stage of their construction trade resource program, and I'm happy to welcome Reverend Deborah Carter here.
Thank you very much.
How are you, Reverend?
I'm doing great.
Good, it's good to see you.
It's good to be back.
I didn't recognize you all wrapped up there in that warm coat this morning, and I
Yes.
apologize,
That's okay. That's all right.
but I was a little preoccupied thinking about so many things since I had to answer the telephone. But the fair's coming up on April the 12th, which is this Thursday, correct?
That's correct.
And it's the second phase of the fair.
It is. This is our second go round with the resource fair. It's from 10 to 2 on Thursday.
Now, the resource fair is a very important three-step program. Would you tell our listeners about it?
Yes, we have a program that we wanted to reach out to the community to hopefully enrich people's lives by helping them to remove barriers to employment. If a family can find viable employment, it is a great help and it lifts the community. So the first phase is for folks to come in and get their criminal records expunged, get their driver's license restored, because these are great barriers to getting employment. And then the second phase, we teach soft skills, interview skills, financial planning skills, resume building skills, and how to tailor a resume to a particular job or interview. We also have workshops on these things, including housing, how to transition into some permanent housing, and what you need to clear your credit score to make those kinds of things happen. Because once someone becomes employed, they need to know how to manage and handle their money and organize the important things in life like food and shelter, so that they can stay gainfully employed. The third phase is where we try to partner those who have gone through the program to partner them with an employment opportunity through one of our partners. So those are the three phases.
Okay, now, in the second phase, which comes this Thursday, you're going to be introducing these programs, correct?
Yes, some people will actually be coming back because they've been to other parts of the program, and so they're continuing to move on this journey, and they will see some of our attorneys that will be there, but we will be introducing the beginning of the program again to new people who will come in, and this is open to everyone. It's free of charge, and we really want the community to know that we are here to build a strong community, a viable community, a community that has resources. And we have a lot of folks who are working with us to make this happen.
And where's your church located?
Our church is located at 2080 West Grand Boulevard, right on the corner of Grand River and West Grand Boulevard on the old Northwestern site for all of those who are Northwestern alums.
Now, when we talk about this program, it's a workshop type program, so this is the first meeting of the workshop, correct?
Yes, we have lots of folks who have great expertise, and we have them coming in to just do a simple 1 hour workshop. They start at, there's one at 10:30, 11:30, and 12:30. Again, the program runs from 10 to 2. So the workshops, you can be scheduled for them, you can be scheduled for them when you come in to register. And we will get you into a workshop that fits what you most need at the time. And this is, again, a process. So when you come in, you're going to register. We're going to give you some information about how it works. We're going to send you on to the next workshop or the next person that you need to see so that we can do this decently and in order and people can find hope.
But here's my question.
Okay.
It doesn't stop with the workshop
No.
on Thursday.
No.
I want people to understand, because a lot of people will say, well, why am I going to go to a 1 hour workshop? That's not going to fix my problem.
No, this is again, it's a journey. It's a 3-phase program, and it's interesting that you raised that. This week, volunteers at the church have spent many hours contacting people personally by phone to make sure that they're aware of what we're doing and how the program works. And we want folks to come out because we are going to walk with them all the way through this. You're going to have a personal interaction and a personal relationship with people who are going to help you get from unemployment to employment, from a record that is all messed up to a clean record, from finances that are out of control to finances you can manage, to learn how to live with what God has given us and use the skill sets He's given us to make the most of this life. And so we have everyone from legal representation and everything is free of charge. So you're coming to get some of the best legal advice, some of the best technical advice at how to interact, to use your people skills, to enhance your opportunities to get jobs. There are opportunities out there. We just have to know what to do to get into the job market and have a viable career.
Many of the jobs that are out there require people to have clean records.
Correct.
And many people who have been convicted of felonies who don't have clean records and who can't get their records cleaned can still find jobs.
Correct.
There are over 60 major companies in southeastern Michigan that will employ individuals who can't get their records cleaned, depending on what type of felonies they have.
That's correct, and that's why we want them to come in and speak with our legal teams, because they can help you. I can't help you in that area, but they can help you to find out what you need to do to get gainful employment. And it's, again, interesting, as we were calling yesterday on our final calls, we found out that there's another company that wants to come in and partner with us, and they are hiring people with felonies. And so we want to make sure that people understand where you can go to get a job, how you get the job, and how you do the best that you can to keep your record clean if it's able to be straightened out. But if it's not, and we can help you find a job in your current state, we want to make sure you don't just find a job and then go somewhere else. We want to help you have a career.
And the people who are coming to teach the workshops, it's not a one-stop shop visit. You can follow up with these people if you have questions. You can follow up with these people if you have needs and you want people to direct you, explain things to you, just like they call my office and the Lakeshore Legal if they have questions so that they can get guidance on how to move forward.
Right.
So if you think that it's a waste of time because it's one-stop shopping, it isn't.
No.
It's a continuum. It's a constant process.
And we will have the Secretary of State mobile unit there. We will have Friend of the Court there. There are lots of resources that will be available aside from the workshops. But we do have, I believe, some of the best legal teams there to help. And that's where you really get started, because that's guidance that you need. The workshops are there to help you move forward. The church is in the community to serve the community. We are servants of God in the community, and we need whole people to understand what's going on. And people cannot be whole if they cannot find a job because they don't feel they have worth. Our job is to make them have hope, to provide an opportunity. And so through this construction trade resource fair, we are opening up opportunities for apprenticeships that will be available. We can tell you how you qualify for those apprenticeships. There are lots of job opportunities that have been shared with us by the city. Again, we can help you learn how to get into those job markets. The skilled trades industry is a big industry, particularly now in our city and surrounding areas. And we want people to be able to get into those industries. But those are not the only opportunities out there.
For 50 years, the African American community has suffered in the city of Detroit. And I remember when I became a young lawyer, the incitement to riot cases, people running from the city, now they're coming back. And the African American community is not getting an opportunity for advancement. There's no advancement opportunity, but we're trying to give you this
Correct.
opportunity for your own advancement,
Exactly.
for your own opportunities, to build your own future, to have housing.
Correct.
And we've got to change things because we can't have people living below the poverty level because we're not making any progress.
Exactly.
At the hands of a few people, they're making a lot of money at the expense of the majority of us, and we have to change that.
That's right, and that's what we wanted to do. This whole program was started as a faith and community experience. We recognize that living at the poverty level has never made anybody really struggle and strive to get above the poverty level. People feel that there is no way for that to happen. Our job is to teach people the way. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the light." We as his believers and followers need to be that light in the community. This resource fair is a light that we are shining into the community, opening it up because our folks can do these jobs, and minorities of all aspects of life need to be uplifted. You can't necessarily tell someone to pull themselves up by their bootstraps if they don't have boots. So what we're trying to do is help people realize how you move through this experience from unemployment to employment, from poverty to living above the poverty line, from not owning a home to owning a home, from not being able to drive to being able to drive. Simple things like a clean driver's license can offer a job opportunity in many areas. It can offer people an opportunity to get to an interview and find a job. Without these skills, people are helpless.
You know, the difference between opportunity and failure is real simple. It's initiative.
That's true.
If you have the initiative and you want things to be good in your life, then instead of sitting at home and complaining, stand up, come out to the fair, April the 12th from 10 to 2.
10 to 2.
I want you to be there.
Please
I'm going to
come.
change my schedule so I can be there. So I want you to change your schedules and show up.
Yes.
And I
I'll
mean
be
show
there.
up yourself.
Yes.
Don't have a friend show up for you, because your friend isn't your problem. You are your own problem, and you got to show up
Yes.
and get the job done.
Come
Thanks for
out and be
listening.
with us.
We look forward to seeing you.